All right, well, we are in chapter 18 of the book of Leviticus, and I hope you brought a seatbelt with you today because we're going to need to buckle up for this one. Oh man, this is going to be one heck of a chapter to talk about. Okay, so be prepared for this chapter. There's a lot to discuss. All right, so let's look into this. Israel shall not live as the Egyptians and the Canaanites. Marriages to many close relatives and others are forbidden. Homosexual behavior and other sexual perversions are an abomination. The land expels those nations that practice sexual abominations. Oh boy, do we have some stuff to talk about today. All right, buckle up, folks. Let's go to chapter, we are in chapter 18, sorry, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, which again means Moses is getting a revelation. It's another one, continuing revelation. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Okay, so he's saying basically, look, the way they did it in Egypt and the way that they do it up in Canaan, where you're going, that is not the way you should do things. Do it my way, not their way. Okay, there's a difference between the way the world's doing it and the way God is doing it. You need to follow God. Verse 4, ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Now this is pretty straightforward if you look at it, saying, look, the way I want you to do things is different than the way the world does it. And you need to do the way I want you to do it. This is what God is saying. And I like this, actually. I think this is good advice for us as parents to talk to our children about and go, well, yes, the world does it different than we do. We choose to do it the way God wants us to do it. So we can use this same philosophy or concept that the Lord is using here and use that to help our children understand how to make better choices. Okay, it's not our job as parents to make the choice for our children, but to teach them how to use their agency to make good choices. And to do that, they have to understand that there is a difference between what God wants us to do and what the world does. And they need to know that we choose to do what God wants us to do, because that will help them in doing that and planning that I'm going to choose what God wants. That makes sense. I'm part of this family and we choose what God wants. We're going to go that direction. That's a great way to look at it. So if you have any thoughts on that, please put them in the comments. Love to hear your feedback and ideas. All right. Verse 5, ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. So that phrase, I am the Lord, is repeated because, again, it's putting that emphasis of this is the way it's going to be done. So if you think of the whole concept, it was kind of popularized in that TV series, The Mandalorian. This is the way. That was their statement to say, enough conversation. This is what needs to be done. Or there's that little guy that he meets towards the beginning of the first season that he says, I have spoken. And it's like the end of discussion. This is the way it is. That's kind of that phrase, I am the Lord, is end of discussion, basically. Now, the phrase to uncover their nakedness, what that means basically is it's a euphemism, is what it really is. It's an ancient euphemism that is used to say sex, basically. That's what it comes down to. So you can change that to sex or having an intimate relationship with the other person, and that's what it means, basically. So you don't go to somebody who is near of kin, so close relatives, you are not allowed to sleep with, have sex with, basically. Verse 7, the nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother, thou shalt not uncover. She is thy mother, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. So that's important. It's fascinating, okay? You don't sleep with your mom. You don't sleep with stepmoms either, okay? That's in there. Verse 9, the nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home, born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness shalt thou not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. So you can't mess with your grandkids. You don't mess with your siblings. You don't mess with your parents, basically. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister, that's your aunt. She is thy father's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, that is your other aunt. She is thy mother's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother, that's your uncle. Thou shalt not approach his wife, that's your aunt. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Okay, that's important because it puts this context that if you're married, you can uncover nakedness with each other, but nobody else, basically. They're going through these different situations. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswomen. It is wickedness. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. So you can't, there's no room for, loopholes in this, basically. Verse 19, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. So again, she's set aside, she's going through her purification time for uncleanness. That is not time to sleep with her. Verse 20, moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her. Now, if you notice, here's something that's interesting is, of course, all of this is phrased from the perspective of this individual person, which we can put ourselves in that spot. Now, historically, this has been men. They use men to put this in here. And I think there's, while that is, normal to think of mankind as everybody, men and women, and they usually in the scriptures reference things from a perspective of a man, realize that we can think of this in reverse and realize that while we're saying it is bad for this man to have sex with these women that are in his life from different contexts, it is also banned for that woman to have sex with him. So we have to think it goes both ways with this as well. It's worded as if it's phrased from the point of perspective of one person, one man, but the rule goes both ways. Okay, so we just need to understand that. Let's see, verse 21, and this is going to be an interesting one. Thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. So who is Molech? This is really interesting. Now, Clarke had some things to say in his Bible commentary. He's got a lot of things to say, a lot of good stuff in his book about this. He says, the name of this idol, Molech, is mentioned for the first time in this place. As the word Molech or melech signifies king or governor, it is very likely that this idol represented the sun, and more particularly as the fire appears to have been so much employed in his worship. So this is like Molech is a sun god or a sun priest that you are worshiping, basically. There are several opinions concerning the meaning of passing through the fire to Molech. Now, some think that the semen humanum was offered on the fire to this idol. So guys would get some out, and that's what was offered on the idol. Others think that the children were actually made a burnt offering to him. But others suppose the children were not burnt, but only passed through the fire or between two fires by way of consecration to him. That some were actually burned alive to this idol, several scriptures, according to opinion of commentators, seem strongly to intimate, like Psalms 138, Jeremiah 7:31, Ezekiel 23:37 through 39. That others were only consecrated to his service by passing between two fires, the rabbis strongly assert. And if Ahaz had but one son, Hezekiah, though it is probable he had others, that's 2 Chronicles 28:3, he is said to have passed through the fire to Molech, 2 Kings 16:3. Yet he succeeded his father in the kingdom, 2 Kings 18:1. Therefore, this could only be a consecration, his idolatrous father intending thereby to initiate him early into the service of this demon. So that's what they're talking about here, basically, is there was this ritual of offering your children to the priest of the sun god Molech, or this idol, basically. And it looks like sometimes they actually did offer him as burnt offerings, and sometimes they would set these two fires, and then you make your children walk between the two fires to pass through them, basically, as that trial by fire idea, passing through the heat and the experience and coming out safely the other side. Maybe even assuming that if you were wicked, the fire would consume you. If you were accepted, you were let through. So you're not to do that. Verse 21 is very specific. Don't do that, basically. That's kicked out. All right, verse 22. Okay, this is an interesting one. Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind. It is abomination. So this is interesting because a lot of people have had some contention around this verse. What does this mean? If you look in the footnotes, it says basically you shouldn't, or with the male, you shall not lie as one lies with the woman. So if a man and a woman have sex, that a man and a man are not to do that, basically. And really, woman to woman as well is assumed in there, but it's the reference point of a man that we're pulling this idea from, teaching the principles from, which is homosexuality, basically. Now, there's something that's important to understand in here that we understand more about in our day and age, is realize that the act of homosexual intimacy is different than same-sex attraction. Okay, same-sex attraction is not actually banned or outlawed in the scriptures. Okay, so loving someone of the same sex isn't banned. It's performing an intimate act with them. Being intimate with them is. Now, this is the same with heterosexual behavior. It's not bad necessarily to desire someone, but if you go through with it, that's where it becomes the problem, basically. So it's the same standard for both. That's an important point. Marriage is a whole nother subject, and that's where there gets some differences in there. But just realize that. That's what this verse is talking about. Now, verse 23, neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. So that is talking about bestiality, having sex with an animal, basically. That is banned, not allowed. Verse 24, defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. So all these groups, they're in the land of their inheritance that they're going to inherit one day. They are experiencing these things. Okay? Lots of free love, lots of sexual behavior, promiscuity, just whatever goes, and swingers or whatever, and they're being kicked out of the promised land because of it. Verse 25, and the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. It's kind of an interesting metaphor or idea to think about, that the land is like, get rid of this is bad. This actually is kind of cool because it goes back to, it reminds me of a part of the story of Enoch. If you look in the book of Moses, when he has his grand vision, he sees the earth, and earth basically is talking with God, going, when are you going to take care of this wickedness? When are you going to deal with this? And we learn that the earth and the elements get into more commotion and have more problems, so more extreme weather, more climate change, as people become more wicked. So the more sexual promiscuity, the more hate and anger that grows, the more crazy the weather gets. So this is a good thing for us to think about for our day and age. And go watch those videos in the book of Moses to learn a bit more about that. But this verse 25 reminds me of that, basically. Verse 26, ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them, shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord your God. So again, that ending quote, I have spoken, this is the way, end of conversation, basically. It's important to look at this too and realize that I mean, when he's talking about the land spewing the people out, it's not necessarily literally, the earth opens up and all the people come out. It's that they are being wiped off the land because of their wickedness. It's their wickedness that is causing elements to come up. So they could be earthquakes, that could be pestilences, plagues, fires, droughts, famines, other things that are causing the people to either die off or move off the land, basically. So again, it goes back to the story of Enoch to get some more background of what this kind of an idea coming forward in earlier scriptures, basically. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next chapter.